So it has grown over time. So I myself was a soccer player growing up. Way back in the day, captain of my high school soccer team. But as a captain of a team of females, there was a lot of things that I was observing at an early age relative to performance and energy levels and ability to make it through the entire game versus being exhausted and not being able to perform at the highest level. The curriculum didn't necessarily teach a whole lot of intuitive eating. Those are some of the things that I pursued as continuing education after I was already a practitioner in the field, just because I found that it wasn't as easy to reach as many of my clients as I possibly could with just science. So there had to be another angle or another way to communicate with people as a whole that helps find their hook. Like, what is going to get their vested interest and buy-in and make them want to do the things that will help them become the best version of themselves.
Well, and how do you we actually just had a neuroscientist on who is actually in a very typical scientific research way trying to study the science behind intuition. So it
Mhm.
was a fascinating conversation, but one of the topics he actually brought up was his concern surrounding intuitive eating. And here, like, I grew up on a 200-acre farm. My parents were very help when it came to food, like just very squared away at a young age. So those principles, like for somebody like me, I actually disagreed a little bit with what he said, because I do feel like I've always had a relationship with food where it's
Mhm.
never went off the rails. It's never been something I've struggled with. And I give a lot of credit to my parents for that. But I also can see from his perspective with ultra processed foods, sugar, and everything that, like, for a lot of Americans to say that they should be intuitively eating could just lead to an absolutely destructive end state. So how do you wrestle and kind of meet your clients? And I'm sure it's something you have to identify in the beginning stages of working with them. Like, okay, do they have a good foundation to be able to really judge what intuitive eating is? Or are they already a little off the rails and their kind of compass for what intuitive eating would be is only going to lead them further astray?
And that's one of the beautiful things about being of coaching, is being able to communicate with your clients, being able to hear what they are saying and understand like where they are in as a state of motivation for change. That is one of the reasons that we do sit down and we do a complete nutrition questionnaire with each and every client. And it's the merriment of the science with the holistic principles. I agree. Like, it's amazing that your parents had that kind of open-ended model with food and what they put in front of you and how you engaged as a family, and depending on what requirements, if any, were there when you were allowed to leave the table versus
Yeah,
not allowed to
yeah.
leave the table. And not everybody necessarily had that relationship growing up, especially as the technology has advanced. So that is one of the reasons that with the kitchen, we do scientifically formulate how each client starts. And when I sit down with them, it may happen in the initial consult, it may happen in a casual conversation at a pickup, or it may happen in a more formal follow-up conversation, because all of that is part of the initial membership fee when you join our organization. But we are starting you out based on your metrics as far as whatever body composition assessment that you have access to. If you have blood work available to you through your healthcare provider or another third party, your personal and family medical history, and obviously your desires and goals. So we attach the science to that and start you out with a number for that individual: number of meals per day, number of snacks per day. We coordinate that also knowing what their schedule is. So it's not a one size fits all model. It's completely custom. And then growing into that conversation of, we're going to start you here and let's have you start to pay attention. Like, does your body tell you that you are hungry? Does your body say like, hey, I'm pretty good right now, I don't need to eat these last couple of bites or finish the plate or whatever? And it can be individual specific, but even to tie in that military piece, some of the reason that military members make it to the level that they make it is because they can tell their body stop. Like, hey, I don't have time to listen to you right now. I'm not going to be able to eat. I'm not going to be able to drink. I'm not going to be able to sleep. I'm going to be able to continue to push forward. And then it's this whole mental construct of, okay, you have arrived. You don't have to be in that state of deficit constantly. Now let's get you performing optimally now that you have made it to this level in this unit. Will there be courses that you have to make those sacrifices again and pick and choose? 100%. But if you want to be the best version of yourself, you are the government and the community as a whole has invested a lot of time and education and money into making you as capable as you are and experienced as you are, and how able you are to stay in the community and be successful and maintain your cognition and memory and physical abilities and all those things depends on how well you take care of yourself from this point moving forward, being able to pick up your grandkids without back pain, kind of a thing. So, and that ties in to the general public as well. We may just do it differently, especially as Americans. I find that we put, and back to that female piece, as providers taking care of others first, our personal needs take a backseat. So like it becomes this hit list of what is the critical element right now? I need to go to the bank. I need to go to the grocery store. I need to pick up the kids. I need to take this meeting. I need to take this call. I need to go, oh, I only have 60 minutes for my workout. I have to go do that. And everything else takes a backseat. So it's not that those things necessarily need to become less important, but the educational piece of it can be practical to weave in taking care of yourself within your current schedule so that you can not only maintain the person that you are, but even optimize the person that you could become for yourself and everybody else around you.